Okay then. Today I will be debarking this tree right here. It's fallen already and it's still living. And I'm gonna cut about 60 centimeter section into it. Now, this process can be quite tedious, depending on the tools you have. If I had an axe, it would make this process a little bit faster. Although, I'm not entirely sure. I guess it also depends on the thickness of the bark of the tree you're chopping. Some bark is hard to get through with a knife. This is the tool I will be using. It's a 3-inch knife, and it's very sharp. It cuts right through. So it should allow me to cut a sort of section into the bark, and then from there on it's quite a simple yet slow process of slowly wedging, levering the bark off of the tree itself. So I'll be recording that now. Just put that there. I think that's good. So I think from here to here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, so simply press down on the top and cut a line down through the wood into the bark. You can see the depth of the knife. That's like half a centimetre or so. And it won't go any further than the wood itself. Once you go past the bark, just give it a double cut just to make sure it's deep enough. That's more like it. Yep. Right along. That's going to be a big ass piece if I can pull this off. Whoa. Getting all the branches in my way. Alright, now I've cut these two downwards. I just cut along the top, down of the tree. Kind of like, sort of like surgery, except a lot more arbitrary. Make it as straight as I can, although it doesn't matter too much. Okay, I've hit a bit of a knot here. Come on, get through. Just give it another one, twice over. Boom. And now the start will be the hardest or the slowest process. Once you start lifting the bark up, it becomes easier because you've got more to work with. For now, I'm going to try leverage the whole way up, whole way down, little by little, along the top and along. Actually, I don't even need to do it along the sides, just along the top, and it should just peel. Peels very much like a banana if it's living. If it's dead, I wouldn't suggest taking that shit. It's garbage. Dig in the knife, or whatever tool you're using, do a bit of leverage. There we go. I'm not sure if you can hear that. It's a sort of peeling sound. It'll get a lot more prominent as I pull more and more off of the tree. Also, another thing to note is that the knife that I'm using is pretty good for this kind of thing, because you can see right here, it's got a pretty flat edge to it. If I were using one of the tipped ones, this would be a harder process. It'd be easier to chop it, to slice it along the cross section or the horizontal or whatever, but to lift it up bit by bit would take longer. And if I were using maybe an axe, this would be even quicker because I'd have an even larger head to work with, more surface area. It's all that jazz. Oh yeah, there we go. Now I'm starting to get underneath. It's the beginnings, if I could show you. See? It's now under the bark. Yeah, hear that? There it is. Alright, I need to go down the rest of it. I've only done like a quarter or half. Yep, as I said, very tedious process. Woo. That's more like it, there we go. Okay. That's good enough. We'll start from here now again and start lifting the whole thing up. Now that I can actually really get my knife under. There we go. I can really lift it up. So, if I lift this, you can see it lifts a little bit, but not enough. Ta-da! Getting there. And now I can start seeing underneath the bark. I can start working it a bit better, because now I can see whether I'm doing it right or not. Oh no, it appears as though we've got ourselves a dry bit that won't come off. Yeah, you can't see it, but there's like a knot here that seems quite dry. I might have to cut a circle around it, or else it's going to fuck this whole thing up. There's actually multiple knots, and each knot that I find, I think I'm going to have to cut round. Because I want this whole piece to be a continuous piece as much as possible, rather than broken up into bits and bobs and pieces. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that workaround. Now I don't have to deal with that knot again, not that you can see it. Yeah, the thing is that you should always debark a tree the second you cut it. But as I was never here for the cutting down of this tree, I don't know how long it's been sitting here. Clearly not long enough for it to completely die, but definitely long enough for the top layer that's been hit by the sun to dry out a bit. So I'm getting spots where the bark just won't come off. It's kind of just stuck to the tree as it's dried out onto the tree, or something like that. Looks like I might be struggling to get round the whole thing. Not good. Oh, it's taking longer than I thought it would. The previous bit of bark came off much easier than this. I guess I chose a bad spot for it, but you get the gist of what I'm doing and can apply it to pretty much any other tree that you so see fit. Not that it'll work on every tree, especially not ones that have fallen already previously long ago. But whatever, work with what you got. I think I might give up on this piece. It's too dry. Oh, okay, never mind. Cut! And that is what I managed to achieve. You can see it has a few gaps in it, and I can't do much about that. Those are the pieces that just wouldn't come off. But that was a terrible, terrible piece. Utterly trash. But, I mean, it's still waterproof. I mean, it's still got some size to it. That's a pretty big square. It's like the size of half the size of an A4 sheet of paper. But, yeah, this is terrible. Anyway, that's all. You get the gist. Toodaloos!